Firstly, welcome and thanks for attending tonight's PlayHQ webinar on programs. Before I begin, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. My name's Matt. I'm from the digital support team at Basketball Victoria, and tonight I'll be joined by Kev, who will run the demo, and you'll see Kev soon. We'll be recording this webinar and sending it around post tonight. And if you have any questions, please ask them via the chat and we'll do our best to get to them. If we don't get to them tonight, again, we'll address them after the webinar. So I'll hand you over now to Kev, who will give you a demo of programs. Kev.
All right, thanks for that, Matt. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all well. Before I get started on the demonstration, just wanted to do a bit of a recap on last night's webinar, where we covered rego types, processes and fees. And some of the key takeaways, I just want to summarize what Ben Paul covered last night. So the only fees that players are charged by Basketball Victoria are the BV license, which I'll cover in a bit more detail of what that applies to, and also the beginner basketball programs, which is $5 per term. For registration and insurance purposes, from 2021, BV will only recognise participants who are registered into PlayHQ, unless, of course, otherwise specified or prescribed by BV for state body-run competitions. Players must register for each specific season, program or event they are involved in. And I guess one point I just want to make is participants are not automatically covered by merely having a current BV licence. It's important that we get everyone to register to everything that they do, whether it be every competition season or every tournament they participate in, for a few reasons. One is participation numbers, which enables us to report to government and get funding for the sport. Insurance. So insurance is done on a per registration basis to a particular season, program or event, not necessarily because they've got a BV license. And also each tournament administrator of all the various tournaments that players might participate in also require player details, and for those players to be registered for their particular tournament and so that they can be put into teams. So there's some of the reasons for that. If you're after more detail, I won't go into any more detail about that tonight because we covered that last night, but I have sent around the link for last night's webinar, so feel free to review that when you get a chance. Now, over here, it's just a quick summary, I guess, of all the registration types and all the player participation types down on the left here. And you can see that the BV license is only applicable to domestic competitions at local associations, the VJBL, Junior CBL and tournaments, whereas all other senior representative and school competitions, the BV license does not apply. And then over here, and what we're going to cover tonight is programs. So this is all the non-competition type participations that that players engage in, such as junior country rep squad, representative tryouts for VJBL, CBL, NBL1, Big V, and also the junior country season. Beginner programs, and I'll go into a bit of detail about that later, and also camps and clinics that are run locally. So this table, what it does is it shows, I guess, the different registration methods. So for competitions, you register in a competition season in PlayHQ, and whether the BV license applies or not, that the system will take care of that. Over here, we've got pre-created programs where no BV fee is charged for players. We've got the beginner program where $5 per player per term is charged. And also over here, anything that's not pre-created, associations can create, and there's no BV fee attached to that. So as I said at the start, there's only two types of BV fees charged. One is for beginners and also one for BV license. The rest of these do not carry a cost at all to players. All right, now in terms of programs, there are two types of programs in PlayHQ. There's pre-created or shared programs that are created in the system by Basketball Victoria and pushed down to the relevant clubs or associations that participate in those. So Where you've got a pre-created program, you must use it, at whether it be at club or association level. And the pre-created programs in PlayHQ are standard things across the board, such as all representative tryouts for junior and senior representative, the junior country representative squad season. So this covers for participants for training in between tournaments and junior CBL, and I'll go into that a bit later, and beginner programs. So they're the standard things that Basketball Victoria and its associations do. In addition to that, if you run anything that's not standard or pre-created in the system, you can create your own local program in PlayHQ. So this will be good to do things like holiday camps, rep ready camps, high performance programs and camps, fundraising events, perhaps your end of season awards night, and even a wait list. You can capture all of this locally in PlayHQ at your own level. But where a pre-created program is there, you have to use it. Okay, I'll just move along to talk a bit about the representative season and how it normally plays out. So going into a season, rep clubs will generally hold tryouts. So what we've done is we've pre-created VJBL tryouts, junior country rep squad tryouts, NBL 1, Big V and CBL tryouts, and we've pushed to the junior country rep programs, VJBL and also CBL. And in the coming day or two, NBL 1 and Big V tryouts will be created in your local rep club database. So what you need to do when you're ready to take tryouts is go into programs on PlayHQ, which I'll show you later, and configure your tryouts for registrations, and then you get a list of everyone who's registered to try out. Once you've held your tryouts and you've selected your teams and players are ready to go for the season, what we want you to do is get your players. It's time now for players to register to the competition season prior to pre-season training. So the idea is that over here for tryouts, those who register to the tryout programs for the various levels of rep are covered for insurance for tryouts. And once you've been selected for a team, you need to register to the season, because that covers you for pre-season training and also in season competition. So most of you would be aware for rep, the VJBL clubs would be aware of this, and also the CBL clubs. You get invited to a competition season. You can configure your club registration for players to register to your club for that competition. And by registering to that competition season, they're covered for pre-season training. So make sure you get your players to register prior to pre-season training. We actually had a situation this year at one of the senior rep levels where a player started pre-season training before registering and injured themselves. I think it was an ankle, and they weren't registered to the season that they had been selected for. So very important to get your players to register prior to commencing pre-season training. For non-VJBL country clubs, it's a bit different. We've created a pre-created program called Junior Country Rep Squad Season. And the reason why we've done it a bit differently for the Junior Country Rep Squads is because, unlike VJBL, CBL, NBL 1 and Big V, where there's a prolonged period where they participate, in the Junior Country Rep Squad season, the teams will tend to play in Junior CBL and a tournament here and a tournament there that are scattered throughout the season. But what we want you to do is get the players to register to the Rep Squad season, and that covers them for registration and insurance in between all those different competitions that they are going to be playing in. And as alluded to before, players need to register for each tournament that they are playing in addition to registering to their seasons, because each tournament administrator needs to have their details and they need to be registered for that tournament so they can be put in a team. All right, now I'll just talk a bit about beginner programs. So for those of you guys that run beginner programs, whether it is at association level or club level, you're either going to be running Aussie Hoops, which is Basketball Australia's managed program, or you're going to be running your own branded program, such as Mini Dribblers or Future Stars. So as mentioned last night, back at the 2017 state conference, our member associations voted in for a $5 per term fee to be charged by Basketball Victoria. And it's at this time with PlayHQ programs that we're implementing this. So if you are running Aussie Hoops, continue to use Sports TG for those registrations, because that is a Basketball Australia managed program and Sports TG is their system of choice. However, if you're running your own beginner programs at your local level, you must use the beginner programs in PlayHQ and the pre-created program at that. So if you do run one, please request that the program and season be added to your club or association database at support.playhq.com. And the reason for that is because not all clubs and associations run beginner programs, and we didn't want to deploy that pre-created program to everyone, particularly when a lot of you don't run it. So put in the support request there, we'll add it in for you. And then once it's added, you can use the pre-created beginner basketball program to take registrations for that. All right, now what I want to do now is I'm going to switch over to the test system. And Matt, just give me a thumbs up if you can see that, please. Thank you. So I'm in the test system here, and you could be, sorry, when I say the test system, it might look a little bit different to the live system that you guys have. And I'm using a club called Kev's Club. Now for you guys, you might be using your association database, your domestic club database, or your rep club database. So for the purpose of today's demo, what I'm going to do is everything's going to be operating in Kev's Club. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is tryouts for junior country rep squad. So over here, these things with the blue label or the dark blue label is a pre-created program. So as mentioned before, if you're running something that is there pre-created, you need to use it. So I'm going to be doing our tryouts for the junior country rep squad. So you go into the season that you want to run this program, and in this case, the tryouts. First thing I'm going to show you is the settings page. So Basketball Victoria has predefined the outer boundaries of the season dates, I guess, of this program, and this program being tryouts. Now, in this case, what we're going to do is for our particular rep club, we're going to start tryouts very shortly. So we'll say we want our season starting over here. So this is the start of our tryout season, not necessarily the season proper, because we're just dealing with tryouts. And I'm going to end it there. So we're just going to run tryouts before Christmas. We're going to do our team selections over the Christmas break, and then people are going to start playing basketball in the new year. So I've set my program season dates here. Update and save. Next thing I'm going to do is set up my registration forms for this. So as you guys will be aware, be familiar with this, that's done in here, in the registration tab. So I'm just going to manage my registration form. So the next thing I want to do now is set up my registration window for when I'm taking registrations for the tryouts to the junior country rep squad season. So I'm going to open registrations on Saturday. Actually, sorry, I'm going to open my registrations now so I could do a test rego for you. And I'm going to close it at the end of next week, because tryouts are the following week. So my registration window is going to be here. What you've got here is the ability to limit the age range of participants registering to this program. So for example, you might not want a 35-year-old lady registering for your junior country rep squad season. So you can set an effective date and what age range for this program. I won't be doing that, but you can certainly do that for your forms. Now at my rep club, I don't charge a tryout fee, but you can if you like. And in addition to that, just like domestic and your rep club competition seasons, you can set advanced registration fees to charge a different fee based on a player's gender or age. You can also set custom fields. I'll do an example of that later. I'll also show you guys merchandise later. Over here, you can set up a bit of a spiel that participants will see when they go to register, and you can turn on your terms and conditions. With the registration visibility, as you guys are probably aware, in PlayHQ, you've got a club or association page. You'll have a fixtures tab, and you'll also have a registration tab. If you make this visible on your over here, the registration form that we're configuring now will appear on your club or association registration tab. So in this case, I'm going to leave it hidden, and I'm going to hit save. All right, one more thing I'm going to show you guys for this form is the ability to configure groups. So what a group is I guess a subsection of your program. So in this case, I'm holding my tryouts for the junior country rep squad. However, I'm going to hold my boys tryouts on one night, girls tryouts on another night, 14 boys tryouts on one night, and I'm going to set up my 14 girls tryouts on a different night. So I'm going to say they're on Thursday. There's one session for that. I'm going to run it on the 17th of December. Only girls can register for that. And the start time, I'm going to say tryouts start at 4 p.m. and end at 6 p.m. All right, and I'll make that visible. So what group visibility does is it enables a registering participant to select which group they want to be a part of. If you make it hidden, participants can still register, but then you need to put them in groups. So if you want that discretion of what group to put them in, you can make it hidden, but if you make it visible, they get to choose what group they are in. So I'm going to create that group. So what I've done is I've set up my season dates, I've set up my registration form, and I've set up my groups. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to simulate a registration to show you guys what it looks like for a junior country rep squad tryout, and it will obviously look very similar for VJBL, MBL1, etc. So what I've done is, because I've made that form hidden, that won't appear on my register page or register tab of my PlayHQ page. However, I've got this link that I could provide to registrants or parents, whether that's advertised through my website, social media, or email out. So in this situation, I am already logged in, so hence why I get straight to this page here. You can see the details that you configured in the registration form. These are the groups that we configured before, so all the group times are available for them to see before they go to register. So I am going to register. Who am I going to register? I will register. I'm going to register Natalie Dowdy, one of my dependents. So in the test system, I've got a lot of dependents, but obviously in real life, I don't have that many kids. All right, I'm going to register her as a player. And because she's registered and in my profile from before, it's pre-filled all of this information. A couple of bits of new features that I could tell you guys about. PlayHQ have added the address lookup. So if you start typing in your address, it will come up here and pre-fill that. The other thing that they've added recently is school. So if you start typing in what school they go to, assuming Natalie doesn't go to school in Tasmania, but you can type that in and it's all via a lookup, which makes it a lot easier and gives more accurate information. Now we're going to register Natalie to the under 14 girls tryout group and continue on. So there's no fees here involved. As mentioned, these tryouts, there's no fees attached to that at state body, and in this case at club level. Agree to terms and conditions, no payments required, so I'll just hit submit registration. And Natalie is registered to this program, this tryout program. So if I go over here to participants, I registered John before, but Natalie's registered there. And if you go into groups, you'll see that Natalie is also in the under 14 girls group. So it makes it easy for you to, I guess, have a list of participants ahead of a particular tryout session or program. You can also run reports, which I won't go through tonight, but you can run reports of registrants over here. All right, so that's for a tryout program, tryout pre-created program. Now, if you were wanting to set up tryouts for VJBL or NBL1, Big V, CBL, they will appear here in your programs menu. And you just click and it's exactly the same. All right, the next example I want to show you guys is a junior country rep squad season. So as mentioned at the start, this is for country associations who don't play in the VJBL for their juniors. And we've set up a pre-created program where you can register to the season or have your players register to the season, and that covers them for, I guess, the whole season, including training in between all of the various tournaments or junior CBL that they may play in. So I'll run through this one here. So we're going to do it for the 20/21 season. Again, I'm going to set my dates. Now, typically in the country's junior country season runs from, like the financial year, runs from July to January. That's been predefined, sorry, July to June. That's been predefined in the system, and I won't need to touch that. However, I will be setting up my registration form over here. So now that basketball's back, which is fantastic, we're going to open up registrations for our junior country rep squad season. Sorry, this is not for tryouts. This is for selected players. So we did our tryouts before. Now we're doing this form for those who actually have been selected. So I'm going to say that everyone needs to register before the 31st of December this year. Now tryouts, as you may remember, finished there, and we did our selections. Say we did our selections over here before Christmas. We wanted people to register on Boxing Day and register. Say we'll give them until there to register for the season proper. Now we can set age limits. Now for my rep club, I'm going to say that $200 is the fee for the season. And in my case, that includes all tournament entry fees and the junior CBL as well. And same thing, nothing different there, and you save that. So for those country associations whose rep club doesn't play in the VJBL, please use that one. For those of you who do play VJBL or CBL, what you will do once you've done your tryouts in here, you will go to competitions and you will accept your invitation to the VJBL, and you go into there and you'd set up your registrations to the competition season. But I won't go through that today. All right, Matt, I might just throw back to you to see if there's any questions that I can answer to now.
Yep. Yeah, there's a couple. Bundled Julie's and Tony's question because they're fairly similar. But if they've already started tryouts, do you recommend that they create the programs now and ask people to register, or just not for this instance because it's just been released, and then obviously moving forward, then they wouldn't?
Yeah, no, there's no need to do that for this tryout season, guys. I mean, we're conscious of the fact that basketball started a few weeks ago, and I guess the timing of PlayHQ's release of this might have come after you started tryouts, but that's fine for this time round. But certainly for from January 1st, 2021, we're asking everyone to use these pre-created programs for anything here to ensure that they're registered in PlayHQ using the correct type of program or competition season for insurance purposes.
And another question from Julie, can you move players from one group to another?
Yes, you can. So I will show that right now. So like I pre-registered John before. So if we made the groups hidden, you would have to assign, and only you can move players between groups. But if players registered and they registered to the wrong group, and I'll show you another application of groups later, you can unallocate them from that group. Go back over here and save, Natalie got a bit ahead of herself and wanted to play under 14s, but she's under 12. You can allocate her that way. And obviously John's has registered into the wrong group. Yeah, so that's how you can unallocate and reallocate participants between groups.
There are a few other questions, but yeah, we might answer those offline afterwards.
Okay, cool. Cheers, Matt. All right, I'm going to move on to do a more domestic-oriented program now. So you'll need to use the appropriate database for those of you who have access to a rep club database and also an association database. Obviously, for the domestic clubs viewing this, you'll only have one database that you can utilize. But just use whichever database seems more appropriate. But we will be pushing the tryouts to the rep databases, and we'll be pushing the beginner programs to the association and domestic club database. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys the beginner basketball program. So again, it's there as a pre-created program, so I'm going to use that one. And I'm going to set up my registrations for the term 1 program for 2021. So again, I'll start in settings. Now, Basketball Victoria have set the outer boundaries of what a term 1 program can run, what dates a term 1 program can run between. Now, I know that I'm not going to start in the school holidays, so I might start Feb 1st. And I know that my program's going to end at the end of March. So they're my season dates for the program. I'm then going to go into here, and what I might do is I'll set up a custom field to show you guys that if you're not familiar with that. So the PlayHQ system will capture all the basic information and fields that you would expect. In addition to that, if there's anything you want to ask, you can create your own questions. So in this case, I'm going to say, have you played basketball before, and at what, I guess, level or location. So in this case, I'm going to do a drop-down box. I'm going to say never. And played at school. Played in the backyard. The beginner program might come in handy. I want to ask that question of players only, not volunteers, and I want that to appear on my participant to season form. So that's how you create a custom field. I'm going to create that. I'm going to go back to the settings page and set up my registration form. So I will make registrations open today, and I'm going to close registrations Jan 31st for my program that starts on the Jan 31st for my program that starts in February. Again, you could set age restrictions. So you might want to say that only players up to the age of 7 or 8 can participate in this, but I won't be doing that here. Now, you'll see here that the Basketball Victoria player fee of $5 is coming down. So you don't need to worry about that. That's going to be built into the registration. You can then set your fee for the school term. I'll just say it's $100, and I don't charge my volunteers. You can also set different fees for different ages or genders. So if you want to, increase female participation, for example, you could provide a cheaper fee using advanced fees for females, but I won't do that in this case. So custom fields that we created before, that's going to pop up on the rego form. I'll show you guys products in my next example, so I'll leave that for now. You might write something here if you want to say welcome to the season. These are the details, etc. Turn on your terms and conditions, and in this case, I'm going to make my form visible, and I'll show you where that pops up in a second. Now, I'm also going to set up some groups. So I'll show you a different application of this group. So I'm going to run my beginner program in term 1, but participants will have a choice of the Monday session or the Wednesday session. So I'm going to do Monday. You get 10 sessions. It starts on 1st of Feb. It's for mixed. And the sessions normally go from 4 o'clock after school till 5 o'clock. And I'm going to make that visible so that the participants can choose which group they want to be a part of. I'm going to do the same for my Wednesday group. And it's got 10 sessions. It starts on that day. It's mixed 4 till 5. Again, I'll make it visible. So I've created my, done my settings. I've set up my registration form and I've set up my groups and made them visible so that they can choose which group they want to register to. Now, I do have a registration link here, but I just want to show you guys another way into the, so again, I'm in the test system, but ordinarily you would go to PlayHQ or you would send your, something I'm always recommending clubs and associations do is that they find their PlayHQ page and bookmark, grab this link and put a link to it from your social media or website, because that way the participants don't need to search for your club. You're making it easier for them. So if I go into my register tab over here, I can see that the beginner basketball program that I've just set up in the form is available to register to. So this is the beginner basketball program, term 1, and there's the dates of the they're the dates of the season that they're registering to, and that's the closing date of registrations. So I'm just going to simulate a registration for here. You can see the groups available, so they can choose which session they want to be registered to. And I am going to register Ben White to this season of beginner hoops. Same thing here. It's coming down. It's pulling the information through from the parent's profile. I want to do Monday for Ben. Oh, I missed something here. There's my custom field. So I asked, I'm asking all participants what level have they played basketball at. So I'm going to say he played in the backyard. Pick my session, save and continue. Now the $5 Basketball Victoria fee is here, and there's the $100 club or association fee for the beginner program. So agree to terms and conditions. I'm going to put in my test credit card number that doesn't work in real life. And I'm going to put in my address, confirm purchase, and that has registered Ben to the beginner program at my club or association. There he is, and there he is in the group. So the last example I'm going to show you guys is a locally created program. So as mentioned a couple of times, for beginner programs that you run, for tryouts, for rep, and also the junior country rep squad season, they are the programs that are pre-created and you need to use them. However, if there's something else that you want to run that is not pre-created, like a camp or a clinic or high performance, rep ready, wait list, stuff like that, you can create your own. So you just do that by adding a program, not much to it. But one that I created earlier to show you is Kev's Holiday Camp. So you create your program and then you go off and create seasons. Now, before I go off and configure the registration form for the holiday camp, I want to show you guys merchandise. So PlayHQ have enhanced this in recent weeks, and I'll just show you how you create a product that you can sell at the point of registration. So I'm going to show you guys the camp basketball I created. So you just give the product a name, a description if you like. turn it on or off, and you can upload an image or multiple images of the product that you are selling. Now over here, I'm going to say that the basketball's free because I'm going to give everyone who registers to my camp basketball. And you can choose whether you want a pickup or delivery fulfillment method. And what that does is it just asks a person, you choose which one is standard across the board. And if you select delivery, what it will do is it will ask the participants for a delivery address at the registration checkout page. You can ask custom fields. I won't do that for this one, but I'll show you for the next one. So pretty straightforward there. And if I go to a camp t-shirt, this one's got a bit more to it. So again, give it a name, description if you like, and turn it on. You can select one or two or three or multiple images to put on the product page when they go to checkout so they can see what they're buying. Now, in this case, I've created a product with some variations. So a variation is like if you're buying a t-shirt, you're not just buying one type of t-shirt. There's different variations of the t-shirt, such as color, and you can specify these yourself. I've got here that you can buy a green or a white t-shirt. You can choose what size you want, and you can choose whether you want that customized or not. So what I've got here is different combinations and the different prices for each different combination. Again, I'm just going to make this one pick up. And over here, you've got your custom field. So in my case, I've got a custom field here called customization. And if they select yes, right, you ask them a subsequent question. So if they want a customization on their t-shirt, I want to ask them what name would they like on the back of the t-shirt so I can print that on the t-shirt before I give it to them. And link to option means that they'll only get asked this custom field if they select a particular option. And if they selected yes to customization, they'll get asked this. If they selected no, then they won't get asked that. Okay, so that's how you do that. Now, before I go into the next part, any questions so far, Matt, about what I covered before or merchandise in particular?
Yeah, there's been a few. I'll just ask you the one from Kylie. So at her club, they run like multiple clinics. Like she has 6 clinics. I was just wondering if they can register to a clinic and not to a specific day of the week.
Yes, you can do that without groups. Just have them register to the clinic without doing groups.
Cool.
I hope that answers your question, Kylie.
Yeah, that's it for now. Keep going, and as I said, we'll answer all the other ones offline after the webinar.
Okay, cool. Cheers, Matt. So once you've set up your products, you can then apply them to programs or even competition season registrations. Okay, so we're working in programs today, and I'm going to set up my Kev's Holiday Camp program. So I'll go into the summer season, which I've created this for. Now, my camp is going to run between Christmas and New Year this year. Don't know if that happens in the real world, but my camps run over the festive season. Now, if we go to the registration tab now, I'm going to set up my registration form. Now, I'm opening my registrations today, and I'm closing it Christmas Eve because my camp starts on Boxing Day. Everything's the same here with a local program. You can set your age restrictions. I'm going to charge $100 for those to attend my camp. And I've got here products. So the products that I created before, I pre-added them in here. So you just basically pick which products you want to apply to the registration form. Now this one here, the camp basketball, I've made it mandatory. So everyone has to buy that. I've charged $0, so they don't incur a cost for that. And then the t-shirt is mandatory, and I'm offering these to players only. But I could say, if you're registering as a volunteer, I might give you an option to buy a t-shirt as well. Again, you can put a bit of a spiel, terms and conditions, and make your registration form visible or hidden on your PlayHQ club or association page. Okay, so I'm going to update and save that. And again, I'm going to use the search method. So you can, as a registrant, you can find your club or association, or as I said before, have a link to this particular page, your club or association page on your social media and website pages. So if I go to the register tab, I can see Kev's holiday camp, and a bit lower, you could see the competitions that my club participates in. So I'm going to register for Kev's holiday camp. All the details are there. Get started. And on this occasion, I will register Chantel Nelson and continue. I'm going to register her as a player. All the details are pre-filled. So I just go next. Now, $100 fee for my camp is being charged. Being a locally created program, there's no Basketball Victoria fee to charge to players. That only applies to the beginner ones. Continue. And then I'm presented with the products page where I can choose what merchandise I want to buy. So there is grayed out. So I've just updated my order because I get a free basketball that's compulsory. And over here, I can choose whether to get a t-shirt or not to get a t-shirt. If you don't want to get a t-shirt, you just continue on. But in this case, I want to get a green t-shirt. I want a size large, and I want customization. And on the back of my t-shirt, I want it to say superstar. So I add that to my order. And there's my shopping cart, if you like, and go continue. Discount vouchers work for registration fees here, like it does for competition seasons. Put in my test credit card and my address. And confirm purchase. So that's how you register to a locally created program with merchandise. And if I come into here, go to participants, I had a few other accomplished players registered to this camp already, but there's Chantel. And actually, what's the time? 6:45. I might quickly show you guys reports without running them. So over here, you've got your competition reports. In here, you've got your program participation reports. And over here in orders, you've got your product merchandise report. So you can run, so over here, you can run your reports for the various programs and the seasons, and you'll get a list of all the participants and their details. In the orders report, if you run you can run it on a particular product or all products between like order dates when they were ordered, and it will tell you every participant that's ordered a bit of merchandise and quantities and details of that. So Matt, I might just throw back to you, see if there's any questions about what I've covered tonight.
Yeah, just one more. Jason asks, can you register to multiple days with price increasing based on number of days selected?
Let me unpack that one. So can you register to multiple days? Okay, so what you're saying is if you choose to register for Monday, you get Monday's price. If you register to Monday and Tuesday, then you get a accumulation of prices. So currently not in PlayHQ programs, and just like everything else in PlayHQ, it's been built from the ground up. So what I've showed you today is only version 1. However, that's certainly something that we will take on board and add to the development roadmap if it's not already there. And yeah, definitely if you've got suggestions, keep them coming. But yeah, important to note that PlayHQ is being built from the ground up, and this is just the beginning. There's a lot more to come.
Just one final one from Kylie. Do the custom fields appear in the program reports?
Yes, they will.
Cool. Yeah, back to you, Kev.
Okay. Well, look, guys, that's all for tonight. So thanks for attending. As mentioned, the VJBL tryouts CBL tryouts and junior country rep squad tryouts have been pushed down to all the relevant rep clubs. So if you do have if you're using tryouts, beginner programs, or junior country rep squad seasons, please use the pre-created programs. If anything else, like holiday camps and events and fundraisers, wait lists, all that kind of stuff, feel free to create your own ones, but please use the ones that are pre-created if they are there. For the beginner programs, if you do run them, please submit a support request at support.playhq.com and we'll get that added to your database. NBL 1 and Big V tryouts are coming very shortly. So that concludes our presentation for tonight. So thanks again for attending. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your evening. Cheers.